So here we see the fully marked out front piece. On the left hand side you've got your finger joints, fully marked across both sides using the tri-square and marking gauge. And on the left hand side you've got your 1:6 softwood dovetail marked on both sides using a marking gauge and a sliding bevel. Okay, before we start off the cut, we need to mark off our waist. Now our waist, the parts that we're going to cut off with the tenon saw, are clearly marked with X's. And have that marked on both sides so I know exactly what I have to cut off. Now, to make sure I get this right, I'm going to mark it in marker. Colour it in. On the front side, I want to see 3 fingers. So I'm going to take out 2 of the 5 on the front and mark it on the back. So we've got 3 fingers on the left hand side. Notice how the cheeks are straight and the shoulders go across the wood. Now we move over to the dovetail side. This time the cheeks are at angles. To ensure I cut it correctly, I'm going to get my marker and highlight the parts that I'm going to take off. Be careful not to get any mark where you don't want it, because it'll be very difficult to take it off afterwards. As you see, all marked out. I'm fully sure exactly where to cut. Now, I would like to use a knife. This marking knife is just going to make getting in that cut just that little bit easier. Now, there's left-handed ones and right-handed ones. If I'm using a right-handed one, the straight edge is on the left. It makes it just that little bit easier to get into the cut. So I'm going to use my marking knife across all of the cutting lines. Only across the cutting line, so you don't score it across any of the fingers you're trying to keep. No, so I'm only going over the parts that I'm cutting. Score over. When I'm using my marking gauge, it has a small little spur on the top which marks the lines for me, so it creates that little knife edge. Now I'm going to move over to the dovetail side. Going to get my tri-square again across the wood, mindful only to scratch across the areas that you need to. Turn it over, use the brass strip on the straight edge, and across all edges. You have a few edges here to deal with. And that starts off my cut. It makes it just a little bit easier to get into it. As you see. And finally, to help me mark out, And to cut, with the dovetails, I bring the sliding bevel with most of the stock against the edge, and I'm going to stop it there. Just put in a small little puncture hole and bring it down to the bottom, and it'll stop naturally for you. Bring it over to the opposite side. Same again, small little puncture hole. It'll stop for you. There you go. The same again on the opposite side. You just have to turn the sliding bevel around. And you mark across that edge using your marking gauge. Cross that edge using the marking gauge, and you use your knife and your sliding bevel for the opposing side.